Hi there everyone, this is Alicia, TradeGecko's Community Manager, and I'm pleased to present Scott. So just before we go into the presentation, here's a very quick introduction about TradeGecko. TradeGecko is a cloud-based order and inventory management solution for small to mid-sized retailers, wholesalers, and distributors. Our software fuses inventory management operations, critical business applications, and online commerce to build the central core of business operations. So, Scott will be taking you through a framework on how to select a SaaS inventory management solution to set your business up for success today. Scott is the co-founder of Catching Clouds, a cloud accounting practice focused on online and e-commerce businesses, providing outsourced accounting services. Scott has been in IT for over 30 years, providing consulting and solutions from global multinational businesses to small businesses and is now focused on the e-commerce space. So at the end of the presentation, we'll have a quick Q&A, but now let me hand the time over to Scott.
Thank you very much, Alicia. I'm looking forward to talking to everybody. Really going over how to select the best and right cloud inventory solution for your online or e-commerce business. I really want to make sure that I kind of provide an overview and what you should expect and require from the cloud inventory solutions, what it can do for your business, how to compare the different solutions. There are a wide range of choices out there, including a short list of some very good ones. I'm going to talk about how to successfully trial and deploy the solution as well. There's a fair amount of work. These tools are important and can have a great impact on your business as long as you put the right effort into it and go in with the right mind frame and willingness to work. So let's hop right in. All right. So let's go into an overview of what you should expect and what are the benefits. Why would you as an e-commerce business owner implement this tool? And that's to improve the productivity and profitability of your online business. Okay, this is the core tool that you're going to use and to manage your business, whether it's managing shipping, managing your inventory. It's important even if you're outsourcing your fulfillment to Amazon or a 3PL, you still need to be able to monitor and manage and know what's going on in your business. It is the core place where you're going to get that financial information, the profitability per SKU, to know the velocity of products that are selling, to know when you're running out of a product and what's going on. And it's a key tool you're going to use to make decisions, which products you're going to sell, which products you should discount because you know the actual costs of what they are, what things, what's going on, how soon you're going to receive product from your vendors, and a number of other things. So it is a pretty fundamental tool for you to kind of get a handle on your business. And I'll go into more of that as we move along. All right, so what are the core features of a cloud inventory management system? Excuse me. The main one is integrating with your shopping carts. You need something that connects to your shopping carts and marketplaces that can actually connect and see all of your sales, whether you're selling on Amazon or Shopify or BigCommerce or Magento or Jet.com or a range or Etsy or eBay or a range of other places. You need something that's going to connect to those and pull that information in. Another key feature that it will do is it pushes the current available quantities up to multiple channels so that you're not constantly updating multiple channels if you sell out of things. So if you have 1,000 widgets in stock and you sell out 500 and you're listing on Shopify and eBay, it'll dynamically update the quantities available so you're not selling products that are out of stock and really dynamically keeping your whole ecosystem up to date. Another key component is purchase orders, and that's the ability to manage both to predictively tell you, hey, make it easier for you to order products and SKUs that you currently have, reminders when you're running low on inventory on specific items, but to consistently capture what I'm going to say is one of the most important components is the cost for every item that you've purchased to help enable all the reports later on. The other piece is shipping integration, whether it's built into the product or you're using a ship tool like ShipStation, but it's the ability to dynamically manage how you're shipping products. And whether you're telling it to ship from a different warehouse through Amazon FBA or somewhere else, or you're just managing whether you should ship it via UPS or FedEx or USPS, and to pick the most efficient and affordable way to ship your products. The other one is analytics. There's quite a bit of data where you have one system that's a dynamic database system that has a copy of every single order of every single product, what you've paid for them, and what's going on inside your business. You really want to look to cloud inventory for those main, a lot of analytics, and I'll get into that. The other one is integration with accounting platforms so that you can integrate and flow data over to cloud accounting products like Xero. And of course, inventory management, moving product from one warehouse to the other, keeping track of quantities and all the fundamentals that you would expect. So those are the basics and the key things you're going to expect from really every cloud inventory application. All right, there are a bunch of other features that are going to really depend on what's important to you and your business and how you're running your business. We work with a wide range of e-commerce businesses that are doing drop shipping and international businesses and multi-channel and private labeling and everything else. In your business, even though it might be similar to other businesses, your business is unique. There are certain things you do that other people don't, but you need the right tools to help you do them as efficiently as possible. So cross-channel fulfillment is one of the key ones. So if you're selling something on eBay and you're out of stock in your main warehouse, but you have some in Amazon, you should be able to just redirect that order and have Amazon ship it for you. Okay, and being able to dynamically manage how your inventory is fulfilled is pretty critical, and without a lot of typing. You're basically just redirecting either automatically if you're dynamically out of stock, or you're manually choosing where you want those things to go. Another tool, not every cloud inventory solution does this, which is product listing, where when you create products inside your inventory solution, it will push up the initial listing to Shopify or Amazon. And if that's something that's important to you, or you're on a few channels, then that's great. Or it replaces tools that can be very expensive, like Channel Advisor or some other tools. And then there are other great listing tools that work in a broader focus, like GoDataFeed. Kitting and bundling is really kind of a core requirement that you really should expect from any tool, whether you're creating a 5-pack or a 10-pack or some other solution, or you're kitting 3 or 4 different items into a bundle that sells better or has a higher margin than selling the individual items at a lower price. So, and being able to keep track of that, both the inventory that's available and the number of total bundles that you can have. Okay. Drop shipping support. If you're drop shipping products from your suppliers or vendors, you need to have the ability for it to dynamically copy the address over to the PO so they know where it's going to ship and provide specific shipping details. You need to be able to generate and send a purchase order via email and PDF, or in some cases via CSV file or EDI. Next things is business to business. More and more customers and businesses are expanding. They're not only selling products directly to consumers, but they're building an ecosystem. And whether or not you're selling to a range of smaller stores that are going to resell your product and your partners in that space, or you're selling through Target, Walmart, Bye Bye Baby, Babies R Us, some other tool, and you're building a direct relationship there. And some of the key things you're looking for is a portal for those people to log into as a replacement as kind of a B2B shopping cart, and then the ability to do invoicing, custom pricing, and some other functionality. The next thing is electronic data interchange. This is a lower priority, and it's only for those B2B businesses that have high volume connections to a Target or a Walmart, because setting up these connections is expensive, but efficient when you're trying to manage orders that are coming in from dozens or hundreds of different stores of these different retailers. But it's definitely something that's handy. Point of sale. You've got a number of cloud inventory solutions that have point of sale built in, and they've decided it's a core to their product, and they've built their own point of sale client. And then there are quite a few that integrate with Square or Vend or Lightspeed or other point of sale solutions that might work for whether you're doing a pop-up store or you actually have a retail location. And really, you've got just a wide variety of way people do business, and you want to have the flexibility to do things you need to do. Another feature is light manufacturing, and there are a couple products that will help you if you are assembling products from raw materials. You need to track work in progress, and you've got all those different ways that you're pulling products together. A little different than kitting and bundling finished goods, but really creating those finished goods. And so they're there. Another feature is whether or not they have an open API, and you have the ability to code and connect any customizations you've made into your Magento site or direct links to some of your partners to really optimize your business. There are a range of other different features, but these are the core ones that I typically look at when really helping our clients or other e-commerce businesses we're consulting to find that right solution to manage their business. All right, Amazon support. So quite a few people, and this is really focusing on support for Amazon FBA or Fulfilled by Amazon, Amazon's warehouses. So here in the US, Amazon.com has warehouses in 16 states. I haven't totaled the number of warehouses, but it's like 2 or 3 or more per state. So there are quite a few warehouses out there, and there's a lot to keep track of. Plus, Amazon is constantly changing their APIs and their UI and the different things they're offering. But being able to track the quantity of the items out at Amazon so you don't run out. If you run out of items at Amazon, you can lose the buy box, excuse me, not buyback, buy box. Keeping track of the cost and the value of all the products out at Amazon is key to both record it in the accounting and for you to know how much cash you have sitting at Amazon and how much, if it sells out, will it turn into profit for you. The other one is cross-channel fulfillment. Amazon's open to that, and so the ability to do that is I'm seeing in more and more of the cloud inventory solutions. A number of solutions have built some automation around inbound shipments. Excuse me. So that you can then transfer inventory, 1,000 widgets from your main warehouse or whatever warehouse over to Amazon, and as soon as you do that, you complete all the settings inside your cloud inventory tool. They talk to Amazon and they create the inbound shipments, they pull the additional information, they pull the shipping label information, and you generate that and it breaks it out. So it automates it, and you save a step of having to ship to Amazon and then record the transfer in the cloud accounting. A number of products are pushing listings, and quite a few or a number are starting to push pricing up from it. So you can adjust your pricing from your cloud inventory as a main dashboard versus having to also log on to directly to Amazon to make any pricing changes. This is independent of using like a repricer like FeedVisor or something else. And then more tools are starting to pull in the Amazon transaction fees to give you a better view of the profitability per SKU minus the Amazon 15% commissions, the FBA fees, and all the other crazy fees from Amazon. So there's just a lot to working with this, and more cloud inventory tools are expanding their support around Amazon. All right, analytics. So one of the key things we look at, and I very much believe in, is a best-of-breed approach. So you have the best cloud accounting solution for your accounting, and don't expect it to be a multi-channel e-commerce tool unless you're at the very high end, over 20 million or more, and you're looking at a NetSuite, if that's the right fit for you. But I'm a big believer of using Xero and the best-of-breed accounting, or the best-of-breed payroll. We use Zen Payroll. And then when it comes to cloud inventory, we're going to show you a number of those. And the best of breed, in this case, there's a number of choices, picking those for you, but asking the right question. You want summary financial data in the accounting, and you want to look at very detailed, specific information about your business and your sales in the cloud inventory. That's where you should look for a lot of this analytics, and that's profitability per SKU. Your sales velocity, okay? Looking at stats around your customers, looking at reorder points, looking at just a range of analytics that are really coming in, and just about every platform is expanding the reporting they're offering, adding additional intelligent reports. I can tell you TradeGecko is investing a lot of money. It already has some very solid reporting, but it's a very high priority for them to really optimize those reports. So depending on how you run your business, you can look at reports that are useful for you to make decisions and have a solid understanding of where your business is going. The other piece I'll point out a couple times probably is that if you haven't stored a cost for every product and every SKU and every variant, that your analytics are wrong. Okay? Without it, you're going to get it. Now, the sales and the high-level stuff will be the same, but without the cost, you can't look at the profitability numbers. So that's pretty critical. All right, the next thing is accounting data. So the best place to pull in accounting data, the total sales, the cost of goods sold, the inventory cost for all of your items, to keep track of your purchase orders when you're spending money on liabilities for your business, is for all of that data to be generated and stored dynamically inside the cloud inventory solution. We require all of our clients to have a cloud inventory solution and one with the purchase order module, so that we're capturing the cost as they go when you're buying products versus chasing down costs at the end of the month or the end of the year to figure out where the business stands. And so there's a lot of valuable data that will get pulled out either from reports and manually entered into an accounting system, or there'll be a direct integration which will push that information over for you dynamically without having to do any additional data entry. If you can get your accountant to log on to your cloud tools and move into the 21st century. And again, you've got to have a cost for every item or the accounting numbers are going to be wrong. So I will point that out. All right. So the key thing is to define your requirements. You have to understand, you get to choose. You get to pick which products you look at. It's your business. I do want to make sure that you understand that whether you're startup and small, that you should be using the products, a cloud inventory product, as soon as you decide it's a real business and not a hobby, and that you should be budgeting initially, $50 to $200 for tools between cloud accounting, cloud inventory, sales tax tools, and a few other tools that you might wrap around what you're doing. The value you get for those is what companies spent tens of thousands of dollars. But you want to make sure you define your requirements to make sure you're clear on what it is your business needs and how you can optimize what you're doing, whether you're a solo practitioner and you're the only person, or you have help from your spouse, you've hired a number of virtual assistants, or you have a staff and you've hired people and you want to make running the business as sane and as efficient as possible for them. All right, so you define, what are your goals? I mean, highest level goals. I want to double my revenue in the next 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, okay? I want to double the ability of our ability to ship shipments per day, because you're getting plenty of orders online, but you're getting behind. Whether it's you want to expand from 20 SKUs to 200, or you want to be able to manage another 500 or 1,000 SKUs, but you're doing all drop shipping, so you don't have to hold the inventory. Whatever it is, they're fine. Write down your goals, list what they are, and be clear about them. Write a couple bullet points and make it clear what it is. What are the problems you're trying to solve, and what more importantly, the goals you're trying to attain. And then where are you looking to optimize your business? Where's the biggest pain point? Figure out and think about where you spend most of your time, and most of your time inefficiently. And then define the roles. Even if you're a solo practitioner, look at the different roles and the different hats you're wearing. How much time do you spend purchasing? How much time do you spend listing? How much time do you spend managing inventory? And if you're not spending any because you're not using a tool, you need to budget for this new role and this new tool and how it's going to impact your business. I mean, it will take some extra time and add productivity. This is not it'll add value to your business and structure. How are you doing shipping? What do you want to optimize? Customer service, order entry, invoicing. Go figure out what those different roles are. If you've hired somebody or you want to hire somebody to do something you don't want to do, make sure you're clear on what it is you expect them to do and the quality they should live up to. Okay, so what you want to do is define, what are your key features and rank them. Definitely go through the exercise, throw it in a spreadsheet, and rank them, and assign a different role and get organized to make sure where are the top priorities. What do you really care about? Okay, document your goals, what channels, how you fulfill today, where you're going to fulfill tomorrow, what other channels you're going to add in the next month, 3 months, 6 months, year. Any unique processes that you do. Oh, we buy a special product and then we sell a commission and then we offer it this way and then a sales rep sells it, but then it flows through our website and we charge 50% on PayPal and another 50% on Stripe, and believe me, we've seen it. Okay? Now, I tend to agree and talk about simple is better. If you document and do a flow chart and get a whiteboard and write down how you do things, and there's 42 steps and it's really convoluted and use 6 colors, you need to simplify things quite a bit. And then when you implement one of these tools, you can do it. And then put it in a clean format and share it with the cloud provider. Share it with their sales reps. Don't be hidden. Say, here's what we do, and then challenge them to say, here are requirements. Do you hit these? Are you strong in all of these? And the better companies like TradeGecko, I've had conversations with them where I brought the requirements of one of our clients over and we talked about them, and they said, we're just not strong enough in your top pieces. It's better to look at another provider. And that's one of the reasons I like TradeGecko and why I was very happy that they asked me to talk about, and I'll show some slides with their competitors' logos on it, to say, look, they're the right solutions, and in a lot of cases TradeGecko is the right solution, and other situations they're not. And the good providers will tell you, nope, they're not a right fit, because they don't want you using their tool and being happy and waste time. Okay? Now, if you're a right fit, they'll tell you, they'll demo it for you, and they'll do what they can to get you to use their solution. Very nice people, by the way, across the board. Now, how do you successfully compare solutions? There are a lot of tools out there. I've done a deep dive comparison of probably 50 cloud inventory tools. I've got I track them, I talk to these companies, I consult to them, I spend time talking to their management and their product development teams, I interact with their support. I do a lot of things to compare these solutions. Now, in my case, I've got a vested interest to support all of our clients and our future clients. You're probably care more, well, I do care equally about my clients, but you want to pick the right solution for your business. You don't want to waste time and have to replace a core solution like this. So let's see if we can talk about the best ways to compare those solutions. First of all, there's no perfect solution, okay? I don't have any one solution I'm going to recommend. There are ones that I like. I have clients on 6 different cloud inventory platforms now that we're supporting, and their businesses are doing well, and they're all great solutions. It'd be great if there was one perfect solution, but there isn't, and it's good that there's choice. There's competition, and each company focuses a little bit different in a few other areas, okay? Find the one that meets most of your requirements. And now, a piece I want to point out that I find super important is the user interface. You're going to live in this system and click here, and if you go into it and it's really foreign to you, and when you click on things you can't find it, or it doesn't right-click the way you want, or whatever, you just don't like it, you get that gut feeling, don't work with it. It's going to be painful for you to use. You don't have to force yourself, okay? Most of these tools have very modern flow. They're efficient interfaces, but one might click. So I just don't, people tend to ignore that piece. Well, no, I hear this is the best, or I think it's got the best features. But if you hate using it, you're not going to use it. You'll stop using it. The data will fall out behind. Anyway, all right. Make time to look at each solution. Block out a time, whether it's an hour or 4 hours, not 5 minutes. I understand how busy e-commerce business owners are. You got 3 minutes to list products and 2 minutes to ship something, and then 20 minutes to send, box stuff up, and then it's just crazy. But make some time, okay? And then start writing down the pros and cons, and then communicate with the vendors. If you think there's a limit, challenge them on it. Okay, and then get down to 2, maybe 3 solutions that you might try. So here's a comparison matrix of some of the key features and kind of an example about how you'd want to go about starting to kind of compare some of these solutions. And when I talk about multi-channel, it's the number of sales channels, not every possible integration they have. So whether they're integrating with Amazon, eBay, Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, WooCommerce. Now, one thing I'm not breaking out here is the number of connections. If somebody's one of these tools are connected to Amazon, they could very well be connected to Amazon.com, Canada, co.uk, and others. TradeGecko has made the decision to go with less channels and really focus on those. Other tools are going for a broader connection. It's really their choice depending on their client base. So, but you want to make sure they connect to your channels and your potential future channels, okay? Purchase orders, everybody has it. To me, it's such an important functionality that if you're looking at a tool that doesn't, you're really causing yourself a disservice. Managing and optimizing how you buy products and the quantities and getting the right price, and then the ease of receiving those into stock with the purchase order functionality is really critical. If you're doing B2B or face-to-face B2C and you offer some of your clients' terms, having an invoicing module is a key tool, and quite a few are starting to add it. There's some do and some don't. If you don't care, and then hey, you don't care. It's not a critical tool. Being able to accept payments on those is important, to be able to email an invoice out and have someone pay online using the same merchant processing accounts you have on your website. Your shopping cart are important too. So it's depending on what your needs are. Special. So different companies have a really focus. So TradeGecko's made the decision, and they're doing some great things. They have a B2B e-commerce portal, and they're focusing on really optimizing the workflows for e-commerce business. It's kind of a newer focus for them, and they're already showing some really great solutions. Doesn't change the fact that they're a solid cloud inventory solution. You've got someone like Scubana that's really looking at scale and speed and is a little unique in this space in that they have their own built-in shipping, where most everybody else integrates with a ShipStation or a Shipping Easy, okay? And doing some interesting things. Deer Systems is one of the tools that does manufacturing support, and Stitch Labs does a number of things, but they're the one that have integrated with more point-of-sale solutions than a number of other tools that I've seen. Whether people have integrated with accounting or not, whether it's Xero or QuickBooks Online and some of the other accounting platforms, Scubana is working on it. They'll get there. And then you've got pros and cons. And you know, the focus here is this is not a competitive comparison for me to tell you one solution is better or not. I can tell you I like all of them, and I have clients running on each of these solutions, and they're all viable companies. I do like TradeGecko. They have me doing this webinar, and I'm really happy partnering with them. There are a few cons. You know, TradeGecko needs to work on U.S. payments, and they'll get there. They'll have that this quarter and hopefully soon. They do have limited U.S. sales support, so if you go to do a demo, it might, if you're here in the U.S., it might potentially be a little late or very early, and they'll get there, and they're evolving that way. You'll run into different companies. You know, if you need Amazon today, Deer isn't quite there. They're working on an integration to Amazon, but then that would be a reason to drop them out of the list. But they're also a viable platform if you have manufacturing. So keep an eye on those things. And then different tools there depending on what's going on. Stitch Labs has had performance, but they've made some big changes recently, and their UI is significantly faster. And I think they've made major strides there and continue to improve the performance. All right, so here's the slide with lots of different people. One thing to know is that except for product listing maybe, or specialization on barcoding around shipping, warehouse management, and well, and B2B and manufacturing, quite a few of these companies could all be there. Quite a few are international. TradeGecko could fit in the international piece. Pretty much everybody here is multi-channel, and almost everybody integrates with Amazon. And you just have a variety. Now I've got not quite 28, I have 26 logos on here. There are quite a few other tools as well, but these are the most common ones that I run into, and you can do your own research. There are a number of reviews out there, but just make sure that when you look at the product that you're asking all the right questions so that it meets your requirements, and that you don't have to fundamentally change your business or go through an 8-week implementation before you get the value out of these. Most of these should be able to get some functionality in the same day or a few days and really be humming along within a week or two. Anything longer than that, either you need to spend more time focusing on it because you're doing other things, but you should really be seeing value, and within a month, 6 weeks, it should be just part of your daily routine. So just keep in mind there are a lot of different options. Take the time to find your short list, and those are the ones you want to demo and trial, which we'll go into next. All right. I've talked to my clients, talked to a lot of people. It's a big change, so I want you to make sure that you're in the right mindset to get the most out of these solutions and to trial things as you go along. All right, just keep an eye on the time. Ooh, I'm zooming right along. All right, so you want to narrow down the options to 2 or 3, no more than that. You can lightly check more than that and build on your short list, but if you're actually going to trial them, it's probably going to be 1 or 2. And definitely get demos of 2 or 3 just so you get a good feel for what's going on. All right, read online reviews, just like, you know, you guys are selling online. You know how important reviews are. Follow them on Twitter. See what people are saying. You can go look for the warts and find the negative reviews. Now keep in mind that you want to read and see if there's a trend in multiple negative reviews versus one person who's just really ticked off. So you guys understand that and how important reviews are and how they can be biased or bought. Not that I've seen much of that, but there are good reviews out there on these tools. Send an email to the sales team and see what kind of response you get. If you get instantaneous response and they're super responsive, And they might be extra responsive in the sales cycle. Do that. Same thing with the support team. Think of a couple support requests. Send something in and ask some questions and see whether the response time is under an hour, same day, whatever it happens to be. Okay, and then request a demo or sign up for a trial. Now, I have to say, a lot of people go, oh, I'll just jump in. It's software. I use it all the time. I have all this stuff. And I have to tell you that there's a big difference between kicking the tires on something you've never used before and are familiar about how they think, and having somebody who demos it all the time and uses it and helps people use it show you the way their tool is supposed to run and the right flow. So, I mean, it's worth the time to request a demo. If you're not serious, don't waste their time or yours, but take a look. It's really worthwhile. Now, a big component, even though you'll only do this once at the beginning, is the onboarding process. If it's a painful process with too many exports and imports and other changes that you have to go through, and you have a hard time setting things up, and anything set up in the first day, it might mean that it's going to be that hard to use over time. Okay? Should be really easy for you to connect your channel integrations and start pulling in products, pulling in orders. You want to apply cost to a few items, maybe your top selling items and the numbers you know off the top of your head, so you can look at the reports, because the reports are going to be fairly useless until you've added cost, or at least the profitability reports. And give it a little time. Keep in mind, you might set it up and wait a day or two for it to pull data in, so you can see what it's going to look like with your data. All right, so you've compared them, you've trialed them, you've kicked the tires, you've involved your team, you've looked at reviews. So basically go back to your chart, your spreadsheet, and your columns of your priorities and your top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and how did they rank? How did they do? To remind yourself, not, oh, wow, it had all these cool, neat features and graphics and charts and, well, but if you were trying to fix shipping, did it fix your shipping? Oh, yeah, the shipping was kind of weak. If that was your number one priority, go back and reassess your own decisions. Review the pros and cons, okay? Review it with your team, double check the reviews, and then take the time to look at the pricing, that there's no unexpected costs. Most of the tools are a flat fee per month for a certain number of channels or a certain number of orders and a few other things, okay? And then as you add channels or move up and need more features, you'll bump up. And you're going to pay between typically $50 and $500 a month for the tools. There are a few tools out there at the high end that charge a percentage of revenue. You can negotiate that to a fixed fee, but typically those are in the $1,000 to $10,000 plus per month range. So if you're in the $5, $10 million and up range, you might consider one of those tools, but quite a few people don't like that. And then there's at least one tool that charges per order. So it tracks the number of orders and has a scaling piece, and that might be a way that you find intriguing, or it doesn't appeal to you. It's really up to you, but it might be the perfect solution for you. But dig in, make sure there's no unexpected costs or add-ons or which things you're paying for, so you're not surprised and disgruntled and have buyer's remorse later on down the line. And then make a decision and move forward, okay? Don't hem and haw, don't put it off for weeks or months, or, oh, I'm busy, or, oh, it's, you know, the holiday season. Now's not the greatest time for you guys to make changes, but if you don't have something in place now, get it in place now before the first week of November, and it'll be hard, but get things going. So, all right. Now, successfully implementing a cloud inventory solution, okay? You need to make the time. Now, I understand putting something like this in is changing the engine in a semi going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour, because you've got sales going on, you've got shipping, you're a business owner, you have other responsibilities, you might have a family, you might like to sleep occasionally. You know, there's pros and cons to being an e-commerce business owner. You get to work where you want, but then you also get to work really, really hard for yourself. It's better than working for other people. Be ready to change. Keep in mind, look at how the tool does things and see if that works better and if you can change your process, okay? In a way that makes things more efficient. The other thing is, make sure you're documenting the new process. It'll make it that much easier for you to train somebody else to do what you do, so you're not the only one who can ship or box or pack or select the shipping carrier or whatever else you've decided as a business owner you're the only one that can do. Document it, because then you can hire someone else to do it, and you can go, you know, drink beers on the beach. Get everyone on board. If you have lots of people in your team, get them on board and get them trained and get them comfortable with the solution. and then focus on the goals of what you're trying to accomplish, even if it's pain and it adds an extra hour to your day or slows down your ability to list products, or it takes twice as long to order products than it did just calling somebody up saying, send me 100 widgets, when you got to type in the information and create it and set up the products. It's worth it. You get better data and better results. Okay? Watch the training videos, read the documentation. I know, I got a new microphone today and I actually read the documentation. I felt a little silly, but I really wanted to see everything it did. So take the time and then send lots of support requests. Ask questions. You will be so unhappy or so annoyed, and so will the cloud inventory provider, is if you didn't ask them questions that they have a ready answer for. That they'll say, oh, it's here. You just have to click this way. And you're just like, oh, I didn't see that. That's kind of cool. So ask, open up lots of teeny support requests and see what the support response is. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to talk about kind of the successful. There's extra steps. You kind of did a lightweight with the trial. Now we want to talk about how do you set things up properly. Okay? You want to connect your channels. Okay? You want to set up your warehouses so you know what products are where, how things are flowing. Okay? You want to import all of your products. Some systems are automated and they'll start pulling them in the channels and you can start linking them and they'll pull data in. Some you need to create spreadsheets and pull your listing information and push that in first and start mapping those things. All the orders should start flowing through in an automated way in which you just connect them and they start to flow in, and then you can decide how you manage them and whether they're automated or not. You want to go through, once you have your products in there, almost all of these tools will allow you to export your inventory and your products. And then you can import your link to your SKU, your cost, the supplier, the brand, and any other additional data that they have to get full value out of your system. But it's mainly the cost for you to import all of those products. So you have that initial cost for all of your products. Okay? Then you can import inventory quantities so it knows whether you're low or out and what's going on, and you can see those inventories go down as each order comes in. Okay? Once you've got those basic pieces set up, I kind of move it around. Inventory or accounting could be a little bit later, but you want to start setting up shipping, and then you want to start looking at reports and reviewing and seeing the data. And then I'll get into the operations next. The other key thing you want to look out for is don't set up your cloud inventory solution to be the master of inventory, the owner of the quantities, okay? Until you're comfortable with the tool, you're sure your inventory quantities are right, and that you know what's going on, and you know if you get new product, you know how to receive it into the system, and it'll update that inventory. So out on Amazon or Shopify or eBay or whoever, whatever your channels are. So just keep that in mind, but that is a key switch that you want to be ready to flip. The next piece is, when you're ready, you want to switch it to Inventory Master, so it's dynamically, and you don't have to worry about updating the quantities out at all of your various channels, or even a single channel. Okay? You want to do the operations where you're shipping product. How do you print packing lists? How do you generate labels? You know, which shipping provider do you select? How do you close orders? Okay? How do you close an order and say, okay, this one's done, it's shipped, we're paid, we're done, and it's out of your hair and you can forget about it, and it's just a statistic to be used in the analytics. Okay? Go in and create a purchase order, okay? And then the other fun part, you bought 100 widgets, they show up a day or two later, and you open up the purchase order, and there's usually a big button that says receive products. And if it matches, you count them, and you know you got 100 widgets, you say receive, and you pick which warehouse you want it to go into, and you're done. And then 2 seconds later, or less, or 10 seconds, depending on the delay to the thing, those are listed as available. If it's an existing SKU and it's published on your site, on your shopping cart, they're available to sell. And if they were back ordered, you start filling back orders. It's kind of magic. It's kind of cool. You go, I don't have to do anything else. It's awesome. If you need to create invoices for B2C or B2B, you do need to transfer inventory. One of the key things that you need to be able to do is to transfer inventory. So if you're shipping inventory over to Amazon, you need to make sure you remove it, because otherwise you're double counting that inventory when it shows up at Amazon. Start reviewing the reports and what analytics reports you're going to look at every day, which ones you're going to look at once a month, or when you're purchasing products. So dig in and look at those and get the full value. Poke around and look at all of them until you find the 2 or 3 that you're really going to rely on. And document what you're going to do in it daily, what's going to happen weekly and monthly, and get a rhythm into what you're doing in the operations, leveraging these tools. All right, some tips and tricks. Document your workflow now. If it's a big, ugly 42-step process, you could probably optimize the process before you implement another tool and make some other changes. Build a checklist of what you go through to do certain things, whether it's listing products, whether it's repricing, whether it's shipping, whether it's ordering, whether it's whatever. How you handle drop shipping, pulling FTP data from your vendors, if you're drop shipping, whatever that happens to be. Organize your data now. The more organized you are now, the easier it'll be for you to get a cloud inventory solution set up and to run your business anyway. So store your logins for all of your shopping carts. Don't try to memorize them all. I mean, you can, but use a password vault like LastPass, okay? And store your logins, and then make sure you have a secure, long 24, 32 character complex password, which the password vaults will help you generate. And make sure you have a unique login to every single site. You don't want someone to be able to hack into one site and then have your logins to every other site and your bank and everything else. Have your product data. If you're already listing products, you either have spreadsheets that you're tracking things on, which is great, or if you're using Go Data Feed and some other listing tool, just make sure you have all your product data somewhere. And then make sure you have your pricing data. Make sure all of your costs are not stuck in PDF files and all the invoices from all of your vendors. You really should have a spreadsheet or something where you're tracking the SKU and the description and the cost, and then some of the additional data, whether you're buying case quantities or things along those lines. And then where do you have your warehouse quantities? You can always look them up at your 3PL site, but know where you get them so you can set up your initial settings, okay? I've talked about change, be ready for change. Talked about opening up support cases for every issue. Be proactive. Build the relationship. You know, if you're really annoyed, copy the sales rep instead of just the support team, and focus on getting feedback. And the other thing is provide feedback on new features. So let's say you're looking at a couple different tools and you're like, oh, this one has everything but this feature I love from this other product, okay? Or this one has everything but it's missing these 2 features, but I'd go with that one. Tell them. They might go, oh, we're already developing that, or they might develop it eventually, okay? But participate. Be an active contributor. Say positive things, and, you know, be positively negative if you're providing negative feedback on the products as well. And then build a relationship. Build a few key contacts. You'll end up chatting probably on the phone or seeing the same support person over and over. Be nice. Build a relationship, and they'll go, oh, it's you. Hey, I've got this tip. You know, and they'll know more about your business. All right. I think we are at the questions and the answers. So I'm hoping that this is beneficial to give you kind of a framework of what cloud inventory is, the different features and what you should expect, kind of the steps and a checklist for implementing it fully, and, you know, making sure you take the time to really get the most out of these tools. The time you put in and looking at efficiencies will really benefit, and it's really a fundamental requirement of any online business of really any size, especially, you know, if you're at a single channel now, you can try to get away from it for a while if you've got a small number of SKUs, but if you're planning on growing, the sooner you implement this, the sooner you can leverage it and then focus on finding better products or better private labeling or marketing for your brand or all the other things you have to focus on as an e-commerce business owner. So I hope this was helpful. And I think, Alicia, I think we have some questions. You want to throw those my way, and I'll answer them away.
Sure. So I have 2 questions from Cassie. The first question that she asked is basically she's currently using Xero and she's looking for a platform that integrates really well with Xero. So she wants to find out if all inventory solutions integrate with Xero in the same way.
That's a great question. Xero is the common denominator, and I think Xero is the best cloud accounting platform for e-commerce businesses. It's multi-currency at the core and everything else. It has standard APIs. It has a great ecosystem of over 500 add-on partners. Unfortunately, and all the different cloud inventory tools I look at do integrate differently and send data to Xero differently. Some will push every single order over as an invoice. Some will push over the purchase orders as a bill over to Xero, some don't. Some will push over cost of goods sold and inventory as a bill or an invoice and record it that way. Others will create a journal entry for recording cost of goods sold and do some other things that show up on the books but aren't as obvious. So they're not. So if that is an important requirement of yours, which I think it's great, make sure you talk to the cloud inventory provider and have them demo the integration. Have them show you how the data gets from the cloud inventory over to Xero and what data, if any, like customer names or billing payment status, flows back over to the cloud inventory tool. So great question. They're all a little bit different, so you're going to have to ask each provider and figure out which one works best for you. In some cases, we don't connect at all, even if there is an integration, so that just because we focus and we're experts in the accounting, that we pull over the reports and record it manually just so it comes over cleaner, because we only want summary accounting data in Xero. There isn't a need or a requirement to push every single order from Amazon, every single order from Shopify into Xero, because it just creates a lot of noise, and you may not need that information on the nameless, faceless, anonymous e-commerce purchasers. Now, if you're a B2B business and you care about every customer, then you do want every invoice. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that fully answered the question. What's the next one?
That's a very interesting insight. The next one is, at what point do most companies start looking at implementing inventory management solutions? And how do companies know when the time is right?
So I think it should be early on, maybe not day one, or you don't have to slow down selling and start generating your initial sales. You never want to do that. I think it should be early on. I think and the point is, when you've decided it's not a hobby, it's not just, I'm going to make a few bucks on the weekend, but you're going to use it to, whether you're going to use it to get that mountain home or buy an RV or pay for your next vacation or kids' college, to, hey, I'm going to use this to quit my day job I hate or that you like, and you're going to make a real thing of this. As soon as you've made that decision, you're going to want to do a number of things like file for sales tax and become a business and open a business bank account. But soon after that, you want to implement a cloud inventory tool and find one that works well for you at that smaller stage. You don't have to pick the solution that's going to be where you want to be 5 years down the line. But the sooner you implement a tool like TradeGecko, the sooner you'll get the value out of it, and you'll understand your business better. You will see insights. Instead of your gut guesswork on what your profitability per SKU is, you can actually look at a report and start then teaching your gut how things really should work. So early on.
Great answer, Scott. So we have one more question regarding Xero. The attendee is asking, one of the problems that he has seen in multi-channel inventory systems is dealing with multi-system payments and applying this Xero. So I think we would like to find out if there is a workaround way for this issue.
Yeah, so if you're a business to business and you need to track the individual payments or there's delayed payments, then you do want to create a separate bill for each order. But in most cases, for a multi-channel seller, what we tend to recommend and what we do ourselves is we're recording summary data on a daily basis. So for Amazon income, we use a tool called A2X Accounting that will create a single invoice for each settlement statement every 2 weeks that matches the amount of money that Amazon deposits in your bank account to the penny. And it breaks out the income, the sales, the gift fees, sales tax collected, and all the other crazy Amazon fees and their commission. And we don't record any of the individual orders from Amazon from the cloud inventory, whether we don't send the data over or it comes over as a draft into Xero and then we just get rid of it, because you're looking for the summary financial information. When it comes to Shopify or eBay or these other tools, we tend to do a daily summary or a weekly summary and record that information. Now, some of these tools do a great job, like TradeGecko, of pushing over that information on a more dynamic basis and pushing the payments as it goes and be applying those for all of those orders that come through as paid, so they already come across as paid. Then it's interesting if you're selling on Shopify with Shopify payments, and PayPal, how do you reconcile and tie the money that came in from PayPal that day and Stripe that day to each individual order? And if you sell the same product and they're all $29.99, how do you tell the difference between the first 10 orders and the last 10 orders? Our recommendation is that you kind of reconcile those things separately and then look for the differences. In a lot of cases, the differences are timing differences between the midnight at Shopify and the midnight at Stripe. And those differences are usually manageable, and what happens is they wash themselves out either at the end of each week or the end of each month, that you end up seeing the numbers go back and forth to the point where at the end of each month, if you're doing it weekly, you really see an accurate picture of what's going on instead of doing a lot of work. What I'm saying is do less work, simplify your process, and provide summary financial information versus trying to actively push every single transaction and apply a payment to everyone as a separate step. Is just a lot of work you don't necessarily need to do, and you can get to very good, pretty accurate financials without getting it down to every single transaction. So that's my recommendation, is look at summary data or simplify the process and leverage the tools like TradeGecko and how they push data over, figure out how they're doing it, and then find the most efficient way to leverage what's going on between Xero and your cloud inventory tool. There you go. Were there any other questions?
Yes, I have one last question. So
Yes.
the person is asking if it's normally best to use separate tools for publishing listings to marketplaces and e-commerce stores, because a lot of tools either do publishing well or inventory management well, but none of them are actually good at both. So
Ah,
it would be a good advice for
that's another good question. So it depends. So more and more cloud inventory tools are starting to do publishing because it makes sense that if you're creating a product and then purchasing it through the purchase order process, and then it arrives and you receive it in stock and you're ready to list it, all that information is already in the cloud inventory tool, and you can just hit a button and say list, okay? Which can be helpful if you're on a few channels, okay? And those channels have listing capabilities in the tool you're using, okay? And that's not going to be the one thing. So if it meets you, you're selling on Amazon and Shopify, and the tool publishes to both of those, then try it and work. Now, there are still limitations. These are a cloud inventory tool. They're going to upload images. They'll do some interesting things around variants, but they may not do the full grid of creating a variance based on size and color, okay? Or you might need to do other things and push some additional SEO categories or longer descriptions or a number of other things like enabling Instagram hooks or Pinterest hooks or other things. So there's a lot of different things to listing your products properly, where the cloud inventory tool is going to do the basics but may not do all the advanced things. In that case, I would use an external tool. Typically, I would recommend something like Go Data Feed, and there are a number of others out there, versus jumping to a channel advisor that's very expensive and wants a percentage of your revenue. When it comes to repricing, I can tell you that the pricing is basically just the ability to set an initial price coming out of these tools, pushing up to the channel, versus a very dynamic, flexible database, data-driven tool like FeedVisor. So it just depends on what your needs are. If you you don't have a listing tool and you don't have a repricer, then use the cloud inventory to get started and then take the time to look at it. But if your business is growing and you need to dynamically change your pricing based on what the competition is doing and your costing, you want to look at a repricer. So it's a good place to start. And then look at the functionality and see if you need more functionality and start using an external tool. So, but take full advantage of the tools you have that you don't have to pay additional money for, and if they meet your needs, you're set. And if they don't, then look for an additional tool. So, but that's an excellent question. It's figuring that base out of what you want. You might look at the repricer and decide it has way too many features that you don't need, or it's going to be so complex you're never going to use it, or you think you're setting your business on autopilot and you can't manage it as well, then you might not want to use a repricer. So there you go. I think that was it. Alicia, was there anything else?
No, I think that was the last question. That was fantastic. And just before we wrap up the presentation, just would like to remind everyone to check out www.tradegecko.com/webinars for our upcoming webinars. And I think that's all the time we have now. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.